I'm talking about sugar.
Or lactose intolerant.
Okay, well, welcome everybody to the 1022 event here in Ottawa, put on jointly by the CFI Ottawa and the Ottawa Skeptics, which is no choice at all, and that's the key behind this event. When purchasing homeopathic remedies, people are often thinking that they're taking some kind of herbal supplements, some kind of naturopathy. They don't realise that the preparations that they're buying don't have any medicinal ingredients whatsoever by the time they hit the shelves. And to demonstrate this truth, what we're going to do today is have all our volunteers here taking huge amounts, overdoses if you like, of homeopathic medicines to demonstrate that there's nothing left in them. Some of the preparations we have today are Gelsemium sempervirens for stage fright. So how many of you have Gelsemium? I know a couple of people have. Arnica montana for bruising and muscle soreness. Yeah, yes, you people on Arnica. Oscillococcinum, flu, yeah. There. Coffee cruda, which is for sleep. Hope you sleep, yeah, good. And I saved Chris the causticum, which is for incontinence. There he is. So yeah, if you'd like to prepare your medicines. Oh no, that's going to make a difference.
I know!
It might not So you want to make sure that you have your pots open. We'll try to coordinate this in some way. Is everybody ready?
Yep.
I'd like to propose a toast. So homeopathy, there's nothing in it.
Cheers!
Goobery. Okay, so while we wait to see if there's any side effects.
My maximum dose a day is 4.
Lavatory to that way.
I've had a lot more than 4.
I'm going to talk a little bit about what homeopathy is and why we're here, why we think it's nonsense. Homeopathy is founded, first of all, on implausible science. So there are 3 laws to homeopathy. The first is that like cures like. This is something that Samuel Hahnemann, the founder of homeopathy, came up with in the late 18th century. It wasn't really founded on any science back then. It was pre-medical, just like trepanning, drilling holes in the head, and many other pre-medicine or pre-scientific almost concepts to do with physicians' work. It's this concept that something that causes the symptoms can also cure them. So onions make your eyes water, but they can also cure hay fever, for example. Obviously no scientific basis for this. The second law is that something that becomes more dilute becomes more powerful. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Oscillococcinum, which some of you have. Someone can hold a box up so that you can recognise the branding. Someone have the the little tube that Mike's holding up there. Oscillo is one of the 10 top-selling medicines in France over the counter, despite the fact that it's homeopathic. There we go, that's Oscillo. Boxes of Oscillo. It's also very popular just over the river in Quebec. Oscillo is an interesting one. The ingredients are duck, heart, and liver extract to treat.
Oh, wow.
But you wouldn't know this unless you spoke Latin, because that's the only language that the ingredients are written on the box. Anas barbariae hepatis et cordis extractum, it says. Sounds more like Harry Potter, which is ironic because the British Medical Association described homeopathy as witchcraft. So very appropriate perhaps. But so going back on the dilutions, Oscillo is diluted 200 C. So that's a C means 1 in 100, and 200 is the number of times that dilution is carried out. In order to consume 1 molecule of duck offal, should you so wish, you would have to consume many times the number of atoms in the known universe. This is such an astronomical dilution. It's absurd. 200 C is extreme, but even those of us today who are taking 30 C treatments, that's like diluting a gallon of milk in a container the size of the Milky Way galaxy. It's crazy stuff, but this is what they believe is the case with homeopathy. To get around the concept of ultra dilution, they have this idea that water has memory. I don't quite know how that works with pills, because there's no water left. But we'll let that slide because the whole concept is utterly absurd. We have these ideas that there's some kind of quantum effect. Of course, all pseudoscience eventually turns to quantum theory because nobody understands it. It's very convenient, and homeopathy is no different. But there's no evidence for this whatsoever. Okay, so that's the implausibility of homeopathy. How's everyone feeling? Great, excellent. Hi, probably bouncing around.
Want more sugar.
The second thing about it is there's no good clinical evidence. We want to demand clinical evidence for our medical treatments. And while homeopathy has been treated it's been explored a number of times in a number of clinical trials, we just don't have the evidence for efficacy consistently. The few trials that do come up as significantly positive compared to placebo tend to be those which are poorly designed. But it's more complex than just the medicine. Homeopathy isn't just pills and water. It's the consultation. A homeopathic consultation takes an hour and a half. You have a nice heartfelt chat with somebody, nice cup of tea and a sit down. The average consultation with a GP in conventional medicine is about 7 minutes, and people come out feeling cheated. And there was a study published last year which showed that this was exactly the reason why homeopathy works in the case of rheumatism and arthritis. And I can point people to that if you're interested. Everyone still okay? Yeah? Excellent. So the third reason why we're here, and perhaps one of the most important reasons, I mean, all of that stuff's science, and science is great, but the fact is that homeopathy constitutes a threat to public health. We have homeopaths proposing homeopathic remedies as alternatives to vaccines instead of MMR. And there have been stings done by the press which have gone in and asked homeopaths about whether or not they'd prescribe MMR for children. And they say, well, you could, but why don't you take some water or some sugar pills? This stuff won't give you any side effects. I'm not going to bring autism into the debate. But also, not only vaccines and important childhood diseases, but they also have serious diseases that homeopaths will try to prescribe medicines for. At home, they advise against, there was a sting in the UK which found that homeopaths are trying to prescribe antimalarials, homeopathic antimalarials, rather than conventional treatments which have been shown to work. And this kind of thing leaves people at great risk of potentially life-threatening diseases. But also abroad, the homeopaths are going to places like Tanzania and offering therapy for HIV/AIDS. There are homeopaths without borders, or to give it its French name, Médecins Sans Médecins. Funny. They're over in Tanzania at the moment. They're working around the world trying to spread homeopathy, setting up homeopathic clinics and bringing false hope to people with seriously debilitating, life-threatening diseases. But even, again, coming back home, back to the Western world, we still have cases where people will forego conventional treatments, forego conventional medicine which has been proven to work, in favour of homeopathic woo. There's a case of a girl in Australia, Gloria Sam, who died at age 9 months. Her father was a lecturer in homeopathy and insisted on treating eczema. Very common condition. I'm sure there's probably a bunch of us here who suffer from it ourselves, or have done. And because of complications with this, through persistent trying to treat this with homeopathy rather than using relatively simple, commonly available conventional medicine, she died a horrible death, aged 9 months, and her parents have since been sentenced as a result. They're in prison. But this all could have been avoided if they just used conventional, proven medicine. So there is a threat to public health. It's not just sugar pills and water. This is a serious issue. Check in one last time. How's everyone doing? Yeah? Good stuff. Right, we'll be done soon. We've got 2 more minutes. Okay. Where do we go from here? Well, the important thing is that the skeptics are here. The skeptics, the scientifically literate people, need to spread the word about what homeopathy is. People don't understand. You guys now know enough, and you know where to find information about homeopathy, that you can tell people more about it. You can educate them so that they can make informed decisions. And that's your responsibility as responsible citizens to do that. There's also issues relating to the situation in Canada where licensing of homeopathic medicines is done alongside conventional medicines, but without any regard for the efficacy of those treatments. So you can have something like Arnica montana alongside something that will actually help your bruising, swelling, whatever. And they both have drug identification numbers, they all look very official, they're all in the pharmacies. But some of them work, and there's a difference. There was a quote from the Ottawa Skeptics had one of their members once said, when skeptics look at natural health products, they see a broad spectrum of products ranging from those proven effective under certain circumstances, like vitamins, those with possible pharmacological properties, such as naturopathy that just haven't been proven, and those which are the very essence of quackery, which is the homeopathy. Skeptics see efficacy regulations as necessary to prevent wasting healthcare spending on nonsense and to protect the public from fraud and the dangerous distraction of ineffective treatments. And that sums up our position on that quite nicely.
Yeah.
The third thing is labelling. By now you're probably not feeling any effects apart from a slight sugar buzz. What you're taking, if it's 30C and above, has no active ingredient. To label it otherwise is simply false advertising. So just quickly to sum up then why we're here. We care about the public, we care about the public's health, we want them to make informed decisions about their health care. That's the key message here. What we don't want is for homeopathy to be rated alongside the conventional treatments which can help people. We want them to be separate and we want them to be clearly labelled. Homeopathy is absurd in its underlying pseudoscience and it has no evidence behind it to back it up. This is not surprising given the fact that it's nothing more than shaken water and sugar pills. And for these reasons we can say with confidence, homeopathy has nothing in it.
Seriously.
How are you feeling?
I just took a medication for incontinence.
Ah.
Now I need to pee.